Hey, Shaun. If you don't know me, I'm a video producer and I make YouTube videos, but I just got the 13-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 processor from Apple, and elephant in the room, or iMac in the room, my main computer for 5 years has been this late 2015 27-inch iMac with an i7 4 gigahertz Intel processor with 16 gigabytes of RAM, which when I got it was maxed out, and it has lasted. It has been awesome. And so I'm trading it in because I want the new iMac, but it's not released yet, and by the time it will be, this will be worth nothing. So for a little while, I'm switching because lately, with 4K footage and running 10-bit on my Sony cameras, it has started to bog this machine down a little bit to where I need to create proxies to really be able to edit anything, and just adds more time. So here are my thoughts on having used my new MacBook Pro for 2 days now. First of all, the instant on is true. It really is on instantly, and even my Mac, my iMac takes a while, takes a couple minutes to really get up to speed when you first start it, but even waking it up from sleep takes 10 seconds sometimes, and it's just nice to, it's not a necessity, but it's really nice to have. The other thing I noticed right away is how snappy the operating system is, how quickly you can launch apps and spotlight search for documents and applications. I don't keep anything in like my dock. I just, if I'm gonna open an app, I press Command Spacebar, type the first few letters, and that's how I open everything. And so that process is really, really slick and really, really fast. Now, when it comes to video production, the two big things that I was looking for, which initially so far I have been really impressed by, is Final Cut Pro runs like a dream. I edit in Final Cut Pro. I don't like Premiere for the most part. Final Cut Pro has already been optimized for the M1, and I think Premiere is about to be, it's in beta right now, but it is amazing. Now, the first thing I noticed as a video producer, as an editor, was when I loaded some footage from my A7S III into it. This is 4K footage shot at 10-bit color. These are pretty beefy files compared to things I used to shoot, and these things have made me make proxies on my iMac just to keep up with it, to be able to play them back smoothly. I've needed to make no proxies whatsoever on this MacBook Pro. This tiny laptop chews through this footage like nothing. And I've even made multicam clips where I have several different 4K feeds and it plays back smoothly. There's no dropped frames, there's nothing, and I've been really, really impressed. Coming up in the next week or two, before I have to actually trade in my iMac and send it back, I've got some friends who are sending me some red footage, some footage from the Canon cinema series, and I'm trying to get just as much good, hefty footage as I can to test on the iMac with an i7 versus the new M1, just to see how this processor handles these beefier files. One of the things that bothers me about all the reviews out right now is everyone focuses on the export time of like, well, this is 10% faster. I don't care. If you're anything like me, I click export and I walk away, and it's gonna take a while. Whether it takes 22 minutes or 28 minutes does not matter to me. What matters to me is, as I'm editing, how long does it take to load a file? How long does it take to play something back? Do I have to create a proxy? Does it play back smoothly? Can I make color adjustments and still have it play back smoothly? These are the things that so far I have only been impressed with how smooth this MacBook Pro plays back footage. The other thing I noticed was Lightroom. I opened up Lightroom, and compared to my iMac, the presets and the editing, there is no lag to when you mouse over a preset or adjust something. These pictures are so fast to reflect those changes that, coming from a late 2015 computer, albeit with a great processor and a lot of memory, it is just screaming fast, and that is awesome, and it's a time saver. But then also in Pixelmator Pro, when I'm laying these things out, it's just so responsive. It makes it a different experience where I feel like instead of having to make a calculation about where I want my edit, I can really play with things and see where the changes happen, watch it, and choose a little bit more deliberately, a little more carefully, because it's happening in near real time, and that's been pretty cool. The last thing I'll say is that I wrote 2 videos on this computer on Monday night. It took me about 45 minutes. I was just sitting in the other room. And then on Tuesday, I edited 2 full videos that went up on YouTube. I exported them. I created the thumbnails in Lightroom and Pixelmator Pro. I did all of this. And when I was done with these 2 videos, I had 81% battery left. And that's insane to me. That's insane. I was using it for hours doing pretty intensive stuff, and it didn't get hot on my lap. I was away from my desk the whole time, and obviously it wasn't plugged in at all during that time. The battery life is so good on this thing, and I've yet to charge it. I plugged it in when I first got it, and then when I set it up, I unplugged it, and since then I've been using it off the battery, and it just won't die after even 2 days of some pretty serious production work on it. So super impressed. The two drawbacks that I've noticed so far are, one, the speakers aren't amazing. And I think, I'm not a laptop user, I think for a laptop, they're pretty good. And compared to my iPad and my iPhone and things like that, if I'm watching a YouTube video or if I'm editing my own videos, it sounds fine, but it sounds like a laptop compared to even my iMac. But I've been using my headphones and they sound great, obviously, because they're headphones, so not a huge issue there. But then the other thing that I knew would be a problem, and it hasn't yet been a big obstacle, but there are only 2 ports on this thing. There are only 2 Thunderbolt 3 USB-C ports, and it's fine. One of them is your power, and then the other is a peripheral. So whether I'm using an external hard drive, whether I'm importing footage from an SD card, because there's not a built-in SD card slot like the old ones used to have, so I have to use a USB port for all of that, and I've yet to get into the dongle game and all this sort of stuff since it's been unplugged. I've had 2 ports where I can have an external hard drive and an SD card reader attached at the same time. But all of my editing so far I've done just on the internal hard drive rather than tethering an external as I sit down, just because it's not that big of a deal. I'm editing some YouTube videos, so it hasn't been that intense. But I anticipate that will be a problem, especially if I try to do some live streaming and I need to connect some cameras and connect an audio interface and things like that. But we will see how that turns out. I'm going to do a full review comparing the Intel iMac to the MacBook Pro, again with some beefy footage from some of my friends who are going to help me out, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this thing really compares, not just export time, but really what is the usability like of this computer as a full-time production computer. That's all I got. If you have any questions, if you have anything you want me to test in particular that you're not seeing in other tests, throw it in the comments and I will make sure that I include it when I post this one in, I guess I'll do it in about a week when I get that footage before I have to send back the iMac. So thanks for watching. See you later. Bye.